very tired, I must admit. It's been an interesting week. It's been not a good week for a lot of aspects. We won't go into those.
No.
It's been an interesting morning, very busy actually.
It has been a very busy morning.
Yes, we have been and spoken with Dinko Tuna Farms, Michael Van Dorn with Dinko.
Yes.
And hopefully through that interview and with the podcast that we did with them and the video that we did with them, hopefully that clears up a lot of the stigmata, I guess, that are attached to tuna farming.
Yes.
Hopefully it does. There's a lot of myths and a lot of wrongs associated with it, and we've cleared those up this morning.
Yes, hopefully people realise that they're actually there to help.
Exactly.
But
Now,
that's not what we're here to talk about today.
no, today we're talking about
This groovy looking guy. He's very groovy looking.
this is the Mantis Shrimp.
He's very groovy looking.
They are
All the
very
colours are gorgeous.
They are beautiful colours. Now, their scientific name, as I've written here, is stomatopod. They are a stomatopod. That is their scientific name. They have evolved you might say their ancestors, so you can't even pronounce words today. Their ancestors, the Molluscostraca.
There you go.
Was around 340 million years. So they have in all different forms been around for 340 million years. So they have evolved into what we know today as the Mantis Shrimp.
Mantis
Stomatopod. Yes. Now, they do have a carapace, but the carapace on these guys only covers the rear of the head and the first 4 sections here. So, and underneath here. So it doesn't cover the whole shrimp. Now, they are a shrimp. So what does shrimp mean to you? Big or small?
Small, you would say. Or probably like a medium size, more to a medium.
You are right in the fact that they are, you hear the word shrimp, so you think small. They are quite small. These guys only grow 10 centimetres, around about. It's about 3.9 inches. And they can grow up to around about 38 centimetres. Yeah. So the bigger ones can get up around that 38 centimetre mark, but quite generally they are smaller and they're around that 10 centimetre mark. Now, deadly.
Pam? How?
They are absolutely deadly. Not only to their prey, but to humans as well.
How?
They pack a punch. First of all, I'm going to talk about the 2 different types. There's 2 different types. Now, when I say 2 different types, the 2 different types depends on what they use and and how they catch their prey and what they eat.
Okay.
So the 2 different types kill differently, and they also eat different prey. Okay. Now, how many species of mantis shrimp do you think there are?
2?
No. There is in fact 450 different species of mantis shrimp.
That's a lot.
Yes. Now,
Are they all deadly?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you know why they're called a mantis?
Because they look like a praying mantis?
You've seen the praying mantis?
Yes.
So they have the same sort of appendage as a praying mantis. So that's why they're called a mantis shrimp, because some of their appendages are exactly the same.
Okay.
Okay. Now, let's get into the 2 different types. So we have 2 different types. Let's get my trusty little pen here. I think it's in here. Okay, so we have the smashers. Now the smashers have what is commonly known as a club. So their club is the front claw. So it's what they actually hit their prey with, and that's how they hit their prey. Now, this club does have on the inside, it does have sharp, you might say sharp spikes to be able to, once they club and they smash open their prey, because these guys like to eat crustaceans, which is crabs, even other shrimp, and they will even attack rock lobster.
Wow.
Which, as you probably imagine, is a whole lot bigger than a mantis shrimp.
Yeah.
So yeah, they do attack species that is a lot bigger than them as well, and that's because they know they can. They know they can. So really, when you want to look at it, probably the only thing they fear would be like mammals and sharks, obviously. But as far as like your other crustaceans and even fish goes, they don't really fear them that much, because they know that they have that capability of being able to pretty much outkill anything. Yeah. So these guys, the smashers, are called smashers because that's what they do. So they smash open their prey. And once they smash open their prey, they've got those spikes on the inside, which they can cut also to be able to consume. So they cut and consume. Yeah. Okay. They live, now your smashers live in coral areas. They prefer to live in coral crevices, that sort of thing. So these ones you do find around your coral reefs and that sort of thing.
Okay. So would you find them up in the Great Barrier Reef here in Australia?
You will find them up there, but they do tend to hang around waters around Hawaii. In your Pacific Ocean and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, you will find them around coral reefs like that. Yes. Yeah. Now the other one is your spearer. Now the spearers tend to, their appendage is like a spear. So if you can imagine having a spear and you're spearing a fish, that's pretty much what the spearers do. So the spearers are completely different. Now the spearers prefer to spend time under soft sediment, like under sand, that sort of thing. So they do burrow. Your mantis shrimp as a whole, they burrow. So these guys will burrow into coral, and these ones will burrow into soft sediment. So these ones are more like your in sand, that sort of thing. Yeah. Now they prefer fish softer. Why would you reckon they would prefer softer?
Easier for them to eat.
Easy.
Or spear through.
Exactly. It's easier for them to spear. Even though they do have that clubbing mechanism as well. They their main appendage is their spiny appendage, and that is what they actually use to, in fact, spear the fish. So they do prefer softer food like your fish rather than your smasher, who prefers crustaceans and is able to actually smash through that carapace. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Do you have any questions so far?
So as you said, they're, you know, the ones that punch. What is the force of their punch?
They're small, right? Very. So what would you think? Pretty harmless?
Yeah? That. If that makes sense.
Not even close.
Wow.
Guys, the mantis shrimp has the hardest punch in the animal kingdom.
Wow, that's crazy.
Do you want me to tell you how hard? Yes. The punch force of a smasher, any type, is
that's a crazy
1,500 newtons, which is equivalent to 337 psi.
That's a hectic punch.
Now, when you think about the bite force of a great white, it's 15,000 newtons.
Yeah.
These guys are over the thousands.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
for a small crustacean,
That's a huge punch.
they pack a punch.
Yeah. So when they do punch, and say, you know, they ever do punch a human being, what would the effects of the human being have with that punch? punch?
Punch your skin and break the bone.
Wow.
They have been known to break the bones of divers.
Wow.
Fishermen tend to stay away from these because if you don't handle them cautiously, that punch could physically break your bone.
That's crazy. That's a big punch.
Now, I'm going to get into something a little bit more interesting about their punch.
Mm-hmm.
You know why their punch is so deadly?
No idea.
Because you not only get their punch, say they're hitting their prey, say there's a little crab that they're wanting.
Mm-hmm.
That crab is not hit once, it's hit twice. So, how does that happen? That's what you're asking yourself. Tell you how that happens. So their punch, so in between the appendage, which is their club, and what is being struck, so the crab, let's just say the crab, right? So in between the crab and the club, when that punch is pushed out, now these punches are pushed out, now you can imagine like you just did this to me, right? Now you get yourself in the water and you try and punch. It's not that hard, is it?
No.
Like you play punch with your friends in the water and we've done it. It's not that hard, is it?
No.
Right. Because you're relying on muscle alone. Okay. We rely on muscle alone. Now, these guys don't. Yes, they use muscle, but they also have the use of hinges and latches in their appendages to be able to push it out. Now that's what forces it out. So the muscle pushes, but these hinges and latches push it.
Wow.
Okay. So in between the club and the crab is what when the punch is pushed out, it creates a vapor-filled bubble. Okay. Now these vapor-filled bubbles, when they are created, what happens is they break down. Okay. These vapor-filled bubbles break down, which causes shockwave. Right? Now this punch from these mantis shrimps is so powerful that it creates these vapor-filled bubbles.
Wow.
Now when these vapor-filled bubbles break down in between the mantis shrimp and the prey, they break down. That is so powerful that these bubbles, once they're broken down, causes a shockwave, much like an earthquake.
Huh. So like an earthquake through your body or through the
it's like
body.
through the water.
Through the water.
So it's like, so that's what I'm saying. They are so powerful in their punch that these vapor-filled bubbles are created, and subsequently, when they break down, and they do break down, because they're vapor.
Yeah.
So they're going to split. Causes a shockwave.
That's crazy.
That shockwave, if the punch from the mantis shrimp misses the prey, that shockwave
We'll get it.
is powerful enough to stun it or kill it.
That's crazy.
We will put a little video of that actually in this part of the video so you can actually see it. I can explain it, but seeing it is something totally different. Seeing it is absolutely unbelievable. And when you look at the size of these guys, you think, no, there's no way. They pack a punch. They have, as I said, the strongest punch in the world.
That's crazy. For such a small little shrimp.
Yeah. So for such a small little guy, they can pack it.
Wow.
So we're looking at a punch of 1,500 newtons, which equals 337 psi around about.
That's crazy. So why are they so colourful?
They come in different colours. So we have some species come like a brown colour, and other species come in a vibrant colour. And it's just their species. It's just their colouring. Now, it can mesmerise prey. So it can be quite mesmerising to look at them. So some prey can be quite mesmerised and easier to catch for them.
Yeah.
Now their eyes are much like, if you look at them, if you look at their eyes, what do they remind you of?
Fly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so
fly's
they're like a bee or a fly. So they do, the mantis shrimp eye is exactly like a bee or a fly. Okay. Now, the mantis shrimp has the most complex eye structure ever found.
How so?
You think we're complex? The human eye has 3 photoreceptors. Now, photoreceptors is what picks up your light and your shapes and that sort of thing, right? So this is what it's behind the retina. Now, this is what we see with.
Yeah.
So we've only got 3 of those, and our eyesight's great, right? You think? They got 12 to 16
That's crazy.
photoreceptors in their eyes.
Have that many.
Yeah.
What, in your
So they can exactly. They can see things that we can't. Like they can see minor little things. Now the other thing that they have the ability to be able to do is to adjust their long wavelength color. Okay, so the long wavelength color, they are able to adjust that to suit the environment that they're in.
Wow.
Okay.
That's crazy.
This is called spectral tuning.
That's crazy.
So they never struggle. Their eyesight never struggles. They can adapt to anywhere that they are. So any light, anywhere that they are in the ocean, whether it be dark, whether it be light, they can adapt to it. Now you got to remember these guys are benthic, meaning
Which means?
they spend all their time on the bottom of the ocean. Okay, so they spend all their time on the seafloor. So they wander around the seafloor. They can swim around just like prawn, but 90% of their time is spent on the seafloor. So they are benthic and they do feed from the seafloor.
That's pretty cool.
And the only reason that they generally tend to come out of their they have their little crevice or wherever it is that they are is to feed or to move around. Now when they grow, obviously the carapace breaks and it grows bigger and bigger, just like any other crustacean.
Yeah.
Okay, so they do shed.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, the smasher, the spearer, let's go there first. The spearer has the ability to be able to make its habitat bigger, okay, because they live in soft sediment, right?
Yeah.
So they are able, as they grow, they don't really have to move out of where they are. They can just make that habitat bigger. They can make that crevice bigger.
Yeah.
Whereas your smasher lives in the coral areas and those harder areas, they do have to move on and they do have to find a bigger habitat to be able to live in.
So if there is another mantis shrimp in that habitat, will they fight for that habitat?
Oh yes. Yes.
To death?
Fight to the death. They'll fight each other. They'll
Okay.
fight to the death for a habitat.
Yep.
They will fight to the death for a mate.
Oh, there you go.
So they're not even friendly towards each other. So these punches between each other, you can imagine that fight.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
It's better than any boxing match we'll ever see.
Yeah.
I have seen mantis shrimp fight. It's not pretty. It's not something you want to go, oh wow, that's beautiful, really beautiful. No, it's not. It's brutal. So yeah, they do have this. They do have 12 to 16 photoreceptors in their eyes, so that their eyesight is extremely acute. It's the most acute eyesight of any animal on Earth.
That's crazy.
Even us.
Wow.
Now you think we're good? No.
Wow.
No, we're not. Now the other thing with their eye, much like a dolphin, only they're set differently. So they are on the stalk, just like your prawn. Okay, and they're set on this stalk. Now that stalk moves around.
Yeah.
Right. Now, like the dolphin, they can see in 2 different directions at once, and they can see in that 360-degree radius, just like a dolphin.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, so their eyes and their eyesight is extremely acute.
Wow.
They can see a predator or prey before the predator even knows that they're there. Their predators are, of course, like your sharks, your rays, like anything that is that feeds on crustaceans will eat these guys. However, they will put up a fight. They don't go quietly.
Can their punch stun a shark?
No.
No? Okay.
It's look. it's not been filmed, it's not been formatted, so
Yeah. Wouldn't know.
but your bigger sharks,
No.
no way.
Yeah.
However, your smaller sharks, your smaller benthic sharks, look, it's largely possible. I'm not going to say yes, and I'm not going to say no.
Yeah.
The thing with these guys, because they do spend a lot of their time hiding, there's not a whole lot. They're still pretty much unknown of the exact damage that this punch can do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not impossible. I'm going to say it's definitely impossible for your bigger sharks like your tigers, your pointers. That's absolutely impossible.
Yeah.
But your smaller sharks, look, I'm not going to rule it out at all. Now, your breeding. They breed twice yearly. They have been known to breed twice in a year.
Yeah.
Now, they breed in the warmer months. So usually around the summer months is when they breed.
Yeah.
Eggs. Okay. The female lays 2 sets. One set is for her to carry around, and the other set is for the male to carry around. Now, the breeding is done internally, so the eggs are fertilized internally. Now, once those eggs are birthed, the female will carry the eggs around in the front of them in their appendages at the front. So they carry the eggs around here with them, and so does the male.
Wow.
Until they're born, until they're ready for birth.
So why do they carry them around?
Like for safety, to keep them safe. It ensures that they're going to be born safely. So they carry around with them, rather than a lot of other marine species who bury them. They actually carry those around in their appendages. Now, this ensures that they're going to get the highest rate of birthing from their eggs, and they're going to be safe. They're going to be nourished. So that's why they carry them around with them.
Are they good parents?
Not really.
No. So they're born.
This is really the only time that they are very good parents.
Okay, so especially when they're hatched, they're like, okay, bye.
Yeah, pretty much.
Home.
They're pretty much like a lot of your crustaceans in that they don't really spend much time with them. But the babies will hang around their mums.
Yeah.
And their dads. Yeah. So they do lay 2 sets of eggs, the female, one for the male and one for the female. One set for the male, one set for the father.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they do. Yeah. So they do. And that's where they carry them. But they are, when you look at them, you're in the water. You're like, wow, they are beautiful. They are, and they are. They're
Look
beautiful.
at this, like colours and just absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. They're a beautiful animal, but just bear in mind they are deadly.
Yeah.
Absolutely deadly. And we do have at least 450 different species, but we have 2 different types. Just remember, 2 different types.
Like the orca.
Like the orca. We have different types of orca. Only the orca only has 1 species.
Yes.
So we do have 2 different types, but 450 different species
Yeah.
of mantis shrimp.
Wow.
So look, guys, when you do see them, leave them alone.
Yes.
Don't try and pick them up.
You'll regret it.
Many a diver has had a broken bone from these guys.
That would,
Remembering they have a punch of 1500 newtons or 337 psi that converts to. They do have those vapor bubbles that they form, and when they do break down, they do create a shock wave.
Yes.
And that shock wave is enough to kill or stun their prey.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you for telling us about the mantis shrimp today,
welcome.
Paris. Now we know.
Leave them alone.
Leave them alone, keep an eye out for them, and make sure you don't touch them.
Exactly. If you do pick them up, make sure you do it safely.
Yes.
I would tend to, if I was picking up a mantis shrimp, pick them up around this area.
This is not meaning just go out and pick them up.
No, but if you must, pick them up around the carapace area around here. Just also bear in mind too that they're, like I said, their carapace only goes to the first 4 parts of the thorax, which is under here. So yeah, just be careful. They are quite unprotected in some areas, and their tail, just like a, they do clip their tail just like a lobster when you pick them up. But yes, stay away from here. If you must pick them up, do it cautiously. Pick them up from here. Do not go anywhere anywhere near the front of them, or it will be disaster.
Cool. Thank you, Paris. And that is Mantis Marine Corral.